I must say, I am perpetually shocked by the depths of the depravity when it comes to a lot of these, streamers, influencers, whatever the fuck you want to call them. I told you guys there was a story of all these influencers who lived in the Gulf Arab states, the playground of the 1%. And they, as soon as the war started, they fled so quickly, and they literally left their dogs behind and they left their animals behind. And there was like a record number of calls to like shelters and shit being like, you gotta take my animal, I'm leaving. Literally even to the point where they were like, I'll just have my animal euthanized because I don't care about this animal. I'm just trying to get out of here. Like this is how disgusting the influencer class is. They're so gross. They're so gross. I feel like I need to take a shower. Just the fact that I'm even loosely affiliated with these disgusting fucks, it sickens me to no end. Well, anyway, the king of the streamers is, of course, a guy by the name of Asmongold, or as we call him, Asmongold. And he's somehow getting worse by the day, bro. He is somehow getting worse by the day. I mean, he started gargling Trump's nuts not that long ago. He, of course, said some casually genocidal shit about Palestinians, which was like the first political comments that I saw that came onto my radar. Well, now he's trying to find a way to go even lower than that. So talking about the Iran war, and he says this.
Sounds going nuts about a school getting bombed. Oh, a school got bombed? Yeah, I didn't see that. I mean, again, any time that I hear somebody trying to cry and get upset about like, oh my God, Israel and America bombed a school, Iran killed thousands of their own people. And
Iran killed thousands of their own people. So we should be allowed to bomb their elementary schools? It's so wrong that they killed their own people. So now we're going to kill their own people. Because it was wrong that they killed their own people. You might want to like workshop some of this shit before you go on air and start babbling, you unwashed fuck. Like you just might want to like, hey, you know what? Let me do a little outline here. Let me write a little framework skis, okay? Let me jot out the Cliff Notes version of what I'm gonna say when tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people are watching me. You think, no, you don't want to do that? You don't care if you contradict yourself, make an ass of yourself, say some depraved genocidal shit? Like, none of that matters to you? Apparently not.
America bombed a school. Iran killed thousands of their own people, and nobody was really talking about that at all.
I saw endless talk about that to the point where it was very clear they were making numbers up. Some of them literally tried to argue that more people died in a couple days of protests in Iran than died throughout the entire genocide that Israel did to Gaza.
Yeah.
That's how ridiculous these people are. That 30,000 number, by the way, completely and utterly made up. Completely and utterly made up. There's zero evidence for it.
Yep.
Did they kill some people? I'm sure. Wasn't anywhere near 30,000. And all the same people were like, actually, they're faking the deaths in Gaza. All of them were like, it's like 100,000 Iranians killed by the Iranian regime. These people fall, Hassan called them Asmon cattle, because like they fall for the dumbest shit you've ever heard in your life, the worst propaganda you've ever seen, and they will slurp that bitch up as long as it comes from Trump or people adjacent to Trump.
People, and nobody was really talking about that at all. So yeah, I mean, if a school gets bombed and kids get killed, it's sad. It's obviously a tragedy, but it's collateral damage in a war, and
it's sad. It's an obvious tragedy, but it's collateral damage in a war. Saying it's collateral damage implies it was a mistake. What we now learned is it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a mistake. It was a Tomahawk missile that specifically targeted that building. Okay? We are now double digits when it comes to hospitals and schools that have been hit. At some point, you got to go, you know what? I think this is on purpose. I think this is the point. I think terrorizing the civilians is the point. Israel attacked the oil refinery, and now a city of 10 million people are under toxic rain that causes cancer and lung issues and all sorts of health problems. Was that a mistake? Oh, I'm sorry. Did we poison a whole city of 10 million people? Our bad. That was a mistake. We didn't mean to do that. Yes, you did. And it's people like this. This is why I can't stand these sorts of people, is they never stop for 1 second to think, hold on, what if we actually are the baddies? It never occurred to him. What if our intent is actually not pure and it's not good? What if it has nothing to do with freedom and democracy and liberty and like, spreading the proper values? What if we actively want a broken region of the world, a failed state, warlords to gain control, open slave markets, and that makes it so there is no regional adversary for Israel and they could take over the entire area? What if that's exactly what's going on here? And it would never occur to him, ever, in a million years, because, we're us, and we're good, because we're us.
I don't think Asmongold thinks about it that much. I think he just literally turns around and finds, like, the maximum bad guy position and just goes along with it. Like, I think that's his... Like, it's very obvious that there's a market for this, and there are a lot of people who want to justify this cruelty, and he will be a willing servant of those people. He's realized that as long as he leans into whatever the administration is saying, no matter how heinous, he'll have support. Of course, the issue for him is he doesn't realize that the type of guy that wants to hear from Asmongold is increasingly more mad at the administration for going to war with Iran because of Israel. If he wanted to present himself as a bold truth teller, he would probably take an anti-Israel position. But he's not taking that position right now because he thinks like this is the better lane. He's so gross though.
Insane simpleton shit is what this is.
To see a tragedy, but it's collateral damage in a war, and it's inevitable. Number one,
it's inevitable to bomb an elementary school. It's inevitable to bomb double-digit hospitals and schools. Inevitable. You know, it's like a hurricane. It's like a tornado. It's like just like an act of nature. There's nothing we could do. I mean, it is what it is, right? Like it just happens. You know, you wake up. Sometimes you wake up and you go, "Oops, did I bomb an elementary school and kill little girls?" Tee-hee-hee. It happens. Just like you got to wake up and you got to go take a piss. Sometimes you wake up and you press a big red button and you murder an elementary school full of kids. It just happens, right?
And number two, if they didn't want that to happen, maybe they shouldn't have been funding terror groups and antagonizing a world superpower like America.
I didn't know that the elementary school was doing that. That's kind of crazy. The elementary school was doing that? That's crazy. See, I thought they were just little kids that were going and learning. That's what I thought. My bad, dog. I didn't realize they were doing all that.
If they didn't want that to happen, maybe...
Yeah, the IRGC generals that are 6 years old at the elementary school, they're the ones who have control over the levers of power in Iranian society.
Maybe they shouldn't have been funding terror groups and antagonizing a world superpower like America. Like if you, and this is what I think is ridiculous, right? Is that how is it that you can antagonize somebody for so many years and then they attack you back and now you're the victim?
That is hilarious because the only people antagonizing are Israel, and it's always been. Asmongold has no idea that Iran...
I know you haven't addressed him on stream lately, but his insane rhetoric on his stream has ramped up so much lately. His comments on Zohran were insanely racist. I don't even see most of his... Like, some of his idiotic baby tantrums make their way to my timeline, and when I see it, I'll just, call him I'll say he's like Asmon cattle, or I'll say, like, we should draft Asmongold to fight in the war, or whatever. But I don't really hear from him that much, and I kind of like it. You are the terrorist, attack back. Burnt Peanut just roasted my country of Cuba again, and he wishes all the Cuban diaspora the worst. Okay, why are you watching Burnt Peanut, brother? What the fuck? I mean, there's a lot of chuds. There's a lot of hogs out there. His father would be disgusted by this now. Yeah, but it's, there's no one holding him back at this point.
The strictest controls on the enriched uranium right before they were attacked. He has no idea. They basically gave the U.S. negotiators, fine, we'll do whatever the fuck you want. Didn't matter, they were attacked. They followed the Iran agreement perfectly. The JCPOA in 2015, they followed it perfectly, verified over a dozen times. And then Trump got in there and violated the agreement and ripped up the deal. And somehow Iran's the problem. Somehow Iran is antagonizing. The fact of the matter is, every step of the way, Israel and the U.S. were antagonizing. That's an objective, stone-cold fact. Okay? But he doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know. He doesn't know anything about the history of the region. He doesn't know anything about 1953 and the overthrowing of Mohammed Mossadegh that the CIA and MI6 did, where we overthrew their leader because they nationalized their oil so that the people of Iran could profit from their own natural resources. Then the Islamic Revolution was a direct result of the Western puppet dictator being brutal and repressive. He doesn't know. He doesn't care. Like, that's why people say about Asmongold, his whole show is...
He says Zohran is not American. Right-wing account clipped
As we spend more...
Asmongold goes nuclear on New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani in his base. He puts his identity and faith over America. We've imported millions who don't assimilate. Drain taxes, vote tribe loyalty, fix, denaturalize and deport every single one of the recent immigrants. Things would be way better without them.
Time looking at this, we will see that people like Zohran Mamdani are fundamentally not Americans. They don't identify as an American. They don't put their country first. They put their ethnicity first. They put their religion first, and they do not put their country first. People like this have no position in power. And ultimately, I don't really think Zohran is the problem. I think it's the fact that we have imported a bunch of people who, based off of an ethnic, racial, and religious basis, have voted him into this position are the problem. And I think that we need to systematically denaturalize and deport every single one of them. That's what I think that we need to do.
It's so fun. Yeah, Twitch TOS is decoration for the stream, I mean, that's crazy. What are we doing? He's just out here straight up doing Nazi propaganda, bro. Yeah, Zohran, who is one of the most popular politicians in the country right now, overseeing the lives of everyday Americans to the tune of 14 million people in New York City, which he is the mayor of, is actually not putting Americans first, and he was only allowed into the country because there is an ethnic need. Is he evil and uneducated? Yes, he is both evil and uneducated. I don't really like saying he's evil, though, because he kind of gets off on that, I think. He's just a loser. That's what it is. He's just a friendless loser who people don't even want to be around for the most part. And he'll turn around and say this is like ad hominem or some shit, but it's because he has a repulsive ideology. And the only people, it's not an accident that the only people that want to farm clout off of his ass are also disgusting monsters. Like half of his best friends are outed as like and pedophiles and lolly enjoyers. Like he's just a repulsive guy surrounded by also repulsive people. And it's because he wants to farm people's approval. And he realizes that this is the easiest way to farm approval. There are a lot of disgusting losers on the internet who are rudderless, who are angry, and don't really know what they're angry at. And they're very malleable. They're very easy to manipulate. And Asmongold can do that by engaging with them with the lowest common denominator propaganda, where he can just sit there and be like, yeah, Zohran Mamdani is actually disgusting and un-American, and act as though he's making like a coherent argument. And some people actually like that open bigotry. They're nasty pieces of shit for the most part. Asmongold certainly is a bad person. Definitely a bad person. Can't actually maintain an audience playing Dark Souls 2, rage quit the game, or Dark Souls 3, forget which one it was. And that's what that's what started his like villain arc, because people were like dunking on him. His gamers were making fun of him, and he couldn't handle the heat. So he realized like, oh, I can get the admiration of these douchebags by leaning into their frustrations and redirecting their animosity to vulnerable populations by heightening, white supremacist tensions in the country. And that's what it is. His villain arc, $10 says you can't redeem him. What do you mean? There's no redemption for this guy. Asmongold says he'll never attend another streamer event or collab with Twitch streamers again. I'm basically racist against Twitch streamers. I have no problem doing a collab stream with Clavicular. So you're saying this is literally From Software's fault? No, it's because he's a weak and insecure man. He's a weak man and very desperate for admiration.
All of these immigrants that have come over here recently, they haven't assimilated. They're costing taxpayers money.
Like saying Zohran Mamdani is an immigrant that hasn't assimilated to the region is so funny. Because if you were to put Asmongold on one side and Zohran Mamdani on the other side, just on paper of like and put their achievements across, right? Like 34-year-old guy who became the mayor of New York City by running objectively an American first campaign, like a campaign that said no to foreign interference, saying no to Israel, something that Asmongold even at the time gave credit to. A campaign that said we can take money away from some of the wealthiest subsects of society and give it back to the working class that want to live in the city, that play a major role in building this beautiful city. That guy is less American than a monstrous cancer sore that never leaves his house and wastes away in toxic sludge and is not really a part of normal functioning society at all, and just constantly is just hyping up racial agitation. Like, I wonder which one is more American than the other, you know? He's like a living skid mark, and he's talking shit about, again, the mayor of New York City. It's not a surprise that the majority of his audience are Euroid neo-Nazis who love LARPing as MAGA, as opposed to someone like myself, where most of my audience is American, you know? Obviously, on the aesthetic front, you know, who's more American? Oh, the patriot. Who's more patriotic? The racist, right? That's the attitude that a lot of people have, but that's obviously not the case. He has a bunch of IT neo-Nazi shut-ins from like the Netherlands and shit tuning in to be like, yeah, we are MAGA too, yeah. We are MAGA too. We love Donald Trump. That's his entire community. That's his entire audience. It's ridiculous.
James Flynn, the political scientist who documented this pattern, showed that IQ scores increased roughly.
Papa Gut coming after Asmongold? Okay, I'm sad. That's my president, President Papa Gut. He has the same chud takes of dudes that would make fun of him in public. Yeah, He's literally just 4chan in human form. Yeah, I mean, he is just disgusting. He's like a human skin tag. I don't know what else to say.
Etc. They all need to go. In my opinion, I think all of them need to go. And if that happened, I think that things would be a lot better overall, right? They would definitely be a lot better. As we spend more time.
Yeah, no, definitely. Asmongold goes nuclear on New York City Mayor Mamdani. Lorry driver versus Detective Kim, the most boring racist. Bro, people aren't Nazis, you crazy guys. You guys, all people say it creates what division and separates and it's pure hate. Come on, guys, stop using that word. It's silly. Why, lol? Bro, chat GPTing this? Bro, I'm literally writing this on stream. I just typed it out. Yeah, no, the real divisiveness is not saying that Zohran Mamdani is un-American. The real divisiveness is the guy who wants to denaturalize every brown person, calling that person a Nazi. That's the real divisiveness.
I am still a streamer, and I do make content here on Twitch. I am not really a part of the streaming community. You're probably never going to see me at another streaming event. I'm never probably going to do a collab stream again with another streamer. It's probably never going to happen again. I don't know. I don't like saying never say never, right? But like it's something I'm really never planning on doing again, collabing with, or having anything to do with these people ever. And it's not that I hate them. Some of them I do. But many of them, that's not the case.
Yeah, no, everyone was like on their hands and knees being like, why won't Asmongold come and smell bad at our parties?
But too far? What about Clav? That's the thing. I'm saying, this might sound bad. I'm talking about Twitch streamers specifically. I have no problem doing a collab stream with Collateral. I have no problem with that. Same with like talking to like maybe Sneeko, right? Or like Nick, right? I've got no issue with that. But specifically Twitch streamers. I'm basically racist against Twitch streamers. And after my 10 years on Twitch and the 5 years recently, can you really blame me? After how many of my friends have been canceled, crashed.
Yeah, bro, your friends have been canceled because they did sex offenses. Like what? Like they got canceled by the courts, dude. What are you talking about? They got canceled by the legal system. That's wild. Oh my God. Think about how many of my friends been canceled. Yeah, dude, because they did rapes. Like that's, you know, the f is wrong with you? Nobody's a Nazi since the 40s law. You are creating a Nazi narrative by calling people that guys. Just call them something that isn't hateful or that word. It's like the other N word. Come on, use your heads. If everyone here would understand that, then it'd be a more peaceful world. Like, guys, name calling is just lame as f. I love this chatter. This guy's awesome. No one is a Nazi since the 40s. Yeah, totally. All the people that actually call themselves neo-Nazis, they're not even Nazis. Like, that's bullshit. And also, calling someone a Nazi is like calling someone the N-word. Another incredible take. And then last but not least, he turns around and says, it's actually hateful. All right, thank you. Here's the attention you ordered, chatter. Eat this fan, suck my dick.
Out. Massive problems. Huge drama. Can you actually blame me?
Yeah, bro said you can't be a Nazi unless you're from a specific region in 1930s Germany. You know, from the Nazi Germany. Like we're talking about champagne or some shit.
Watching what Trump does, giggling and going, yeah, based. Like, thank you for your fucking genius input. And by the way, this is where so many people are going now. They're done with like the Ben Shapiro, highfalutin, fake intellectual bullshit. And they're just like, give me some unwashed idiot in his room giggling and agreeing with anything Trump does without researching any of it.
The fact is, what I'm saying is accurate. Still doesn't excuse the double tap. Only reason for that is to kill medical. Well, of course you should kill their medical.
Of course you should kill their medical. Doctors, nurses, paramedics, of course, they're fair game. Murder them. By the way, I'm sure he would feel like this if it was, you know, the elementary school of a family member that went there and they got murdered. I'm sure he'd say, well, that's fair game, right? I'm sure if it was the hospital by him, if it got bombed, well, that's fair game. We're at war, right? I'm sure he'd feel that way. I'm sure it's not just because it's the other that he feels like this, right?
Of course you should kill their medical. Like, if they're helping, of course you should kill their medics. Like, if you have these people that are helping these soldiers that are terrorizing you and fighting against you, you should, of course, shoot them.
Yeah, this guy doesn't know anything. Like, I'm willing to bet he thinks this because he's like, what do you mean? If you're doing a raid, you hit the healer. Like, he literally thinks you're supposed to, like, target the healers. He doesn't understand that that is a transparent war crime. Also, these healers were not even healing the soldiers. They were first responders trying to take out the little children from the rubble. Incredible work.
The whole point about the medical profession is they don't distinguish. Like, if you are a serial killer and you're locked up for life, you still have a fundamental right to medical care. It's not like, oh, since you're a serial killer, you get cancer, and now we're just going to let you rot with the cancer and not get any treatment whatsoever. Like, that's not how it works. In civilized, functional societies that give the basic bare minimum of a shit about human rights, this stuff is off the table. Everybody deserves medical care, right? And here he is saying, well, yeah, but if you're helping people who I think are bad, who I have defined as bad, therefore, you're fair game. God, this...
Yeah, it's wonderful that Twitch banned streamers for 30 days over a Sabra Hummus tier list created by their own staff at their own event, but advocating to murder medics, and not even in the field of combat, after a military operation that blew up a school, killing 150 plus little schoolgirls, and then the first responders that arrived on scene. Justifying all that is totally valid. It's incredible stuff. Hassani precogged their defense. Asmongold understands the art of war. Pretty sure that's what you do in a real-time strategy game so that your enemy couldn't heal their units. Oh my God. Can I be honest? This Asmongold stuff is meaningless to me. It's obvious that his whole shtick at this point is just to say the most insane and unhinged shit and get this kind of attention from it. I don't even feel any sort of anger from him anymore because it's just dumbass being proudly dumb. What am I supposed to do about that? Waste my energy being mad every day? We get mad at, shit that is actually relevant. What here? He says you should not follow international law. It's this that pisses me off because there are a lot of dumb baby brain losers out there who will watch his commentary and reward him with the clicks that he desperately wants. That's what pisses me off more than anything else. The fact that there is a market for it, the fact that there are so many people out there who are like, oh, hell yeah, base, dude. We should kill more medics. Straight up neo-Nazi, dude.
He is spiritually Israeli, right? He is spiritually Israeli with how he talks about this shit, isn't he?
You should, of course, shoot them. Duh. Ugh. Like, what are you talking about? That's a war... What? Yes, absolutely. That's a war crime? What do you mean? The medics? Yes, absolutely. It's a brutal take. It's not a brutal take. The fact...
My God. All right, and then here he goes. Trump is not enough of a warmonger. He's actually a pussy.
I said it last year. I think that Trump is such a pussy. I do. I think he is the biggest bitch. It makes me like we should be doing something like Maduro once a week.
We should be doing an illegal and offensive regime change where we bomb and kill grandmas like Rosa Gonzalez, rest in peace. And then we should steal their natural resources and put it in a private bank account in Qatar so Trump can get personally rich off of all of Venezuela's oil. That's what he wants to do every week.
Like once a week, we need to be doing that. Like we have this arm. I
love how he's so cucked he doesn't even realize that this does nothing for you. That this is literally only for the Epstein class. The disgusting pervert, rapist, pedophile Epstein class that somehow you think you're going to get good things off of? Are you insane? They're the enemy of humanity, and so are you.
$1 trillion a year for the army. You're telling us we can only do this like once every 4 years? Come on. Give me a break. And not radical enough? I know. He's a massive bitch. The reason why I don't like Trump isn't because he's extreme. It's because he's not extreme.
He needs to do more war. He needs to overthrow more countries. He needs to steal more natural resources. How are you not just a Nazi? Like, shouldn't you just say, I am a Nazi? Like, shouldn't you just admit that? Because that's what this shit is. That's what this...
I mean, he is, but it's like fun for him to play around with it. Also, I don't think any of this stuff, he even thinks twice about anything that he's saying.
Mindset, that's what this ideology is. You want to loot, you want to pillage, you want to massacre innocent people, kill kids, kill medics, overthrow more countries, steal their shit. Like, I don't know, man. Something is completely gone in the mind of people like this. Like, this is just unsalvageable, in my opinion, Like, things that 99% of people would agree are gross. Like, think about the number of people who reacted to the bombing of the elementary school with disgust and horror and thought, like, oh my God, that's horrible, right? And think of his reaction. Like, I don't know who this is for. And by the way, if you watch this guy, like, it's not too late to jump ship, right? It's not too late to jump ship because this is as depraved as it gets. And usually people like to think of themselves to one extent or another as the good guy and like having the right values. And when you're now openly defending bombing doctors and bombing elementary school kids and, asking Trump to do more war because apparently the 8 that he's doing are not enough, like, it kind of is hard to keep that veneer of like, I'm a good person, right? Like even that sort of goes away in that scenario. But anyway, there you have it. That's why he's called Asmongold.
He is 100% like reveling in the idea that like people despise him. Like he leans into it. It's vice signaling. It's a horrible way to live. And unironically, the only times where he actually feels the hurt, like a lot of people get mad at me when I look at Asmongold videos But it does matter when he goes viral. I know it matters to him when he goes viral. When he goes viral for this like evil shit that he's saying and normal people interact with him for the first time ever, because he gets away with like being in his own corner, being like a repulsive little freak in his own corner. But when it actually reaches to the other side, people are horrified by what he's saying and they actually do start yelling at him, and it does hurt his feelings. 100%. It absolutely hurts his feelings because he still wants to like feel loved. It's not that he like triggers the libs and he's in it for the battle, or that this is like a serious ideological project for him. Yes, he absolutely does. You know for a fact that he does. He does have feelings and he cares about validation. So when people, that's fair, you only really cover him in depth when he goes viral. Appreciate you pointing out as someone who sometimes gets annoyed when you cover him, but I understood now. No, 100%. His right-wing grifting pivot, when it reaches across the aisle, actually hurts his sensitive feelings. Because he's doing all this for validation. He's doing all this for praise. He's doing all this for a sense of belonging. And when he's constantly inundated with people being like, you're a floozer, what the hell are you saying? He does get sad about it. And you can see it. Like when he experiences repercussions for his actions, he gets sad about it. He'll be like, oh, I'm so strong. I don't want to be around anybody. I hate everyone or whatever, right? But in real life, it does actually hurt him. Same with like when he can't hang out with his friends. Oh, I can't be around other people. I'm never going to go around and be around other people any longer because like everybody's abandoned me. Yeah, you did that to yourself.
3 points per decade in many countries throughout the 20th century.
I think there's a lot of reasons why that happens. And
yeah, that's because
one of the reasons is a eugenic reason. Whenever you have dumb people that are really stupid, the probability is that they're not going to reproduce.
Dude, I don't think that there's ever been a dumber fucking thing that anyone has ever said in like the history of the world. The idea that dumb people aren't reproducing. This has to be Asmongold's dumbest fucking take, right? Like we have to understand this. My man, dumb people are the only ones producing. They don't care if they have enough money to survive. They will just go and have fucking kids. They don't give a shit. What are you talking about? Smart people try to make sure that they have the finances available to have kids. The hell are you saying?
So the reason why is that those dumb people usually make bad decisions. Those bad decisions get them put in jail, and you can't have a kid whenever you're in jail.
What are you talking? Dude, this guy's an idiot. So what, most dumb people are in jail now? I don't understand what's happening.
So that's what happens is that a lot of...
He's so dumb. Holy fuck, dude.
dumb people wrong. Well, of course, it's obvious that's true.
I can't believe anybody listened to this and went, yeah, I think this guy's actually speaking facts.
Is that a lot of the dumbest people are going to get removed from the gene pool.
He's so fucking stupid. This has to be Asmongold's dumbest fucking moment in his entire life. That's the biggest indication that he doesn't go outside. Nobody would ever agree with this. Even like racist conservatives are saying, guys, we're taking in too many brown people from other countries that are dumb. They think they're dumb. I don't. Because white people aren't having enough babies and they just think all white people are smart. Asmongold isn't being consistent with any narrative ever. He's just saying something to say something. That's literally it. Please, for the love of fucking Christ, acknowledge this and understand this. Asmongold doesn't mean anything he says. Understand, like...
Papa God is right. That's my president right there. Even though he calls me apparently anti-Semitic all the time, he's right on this issue. Like he is trying to farm outrage. That's all he's doing. Asmon Dad was the last string of humanity he had left. I for real think he's just having a public breakdown. This guy talks more shit about you than he does about Asmon. I don't care. He needs to be addressed and dissected. A spotlight is needed so much as the good people know of his disgusting worldview and how he's poisoning the internet waves. Yeah.
Asmongold is a fucking goldfish. He just wants to disagree with everything everyone is saying. This is his stupidest moment ever.
Contrarian death worshiper craves self-isolation is probably for the best he stays home. I mean, like I said, he's a disgusting little freak and utterly repulsive. So that's it. Most normal people would be, Papa Gut is a leftist pipeline, bro. Yeah, I think he was... Perhaps he was a little bit too like up Ethan Klein's asshole initially. If he's like running around being like, I'm a anti-Semite. It is also kind of funny because like, where is the market for that now? Like it is pretty funny how much like the discourse changed over the last 2.5 years. Where like, yeah, sure. At first there was a lot of like people who were like, fuck you, how dare you say free Palestine? Then it was like, okay, free Palestine, but like, you know, Israel would never bomb a hospital. Then it was like, okay, oh my God, Israel bombed every hospital. free Palestine, but also Hamas is bad. But we're almost 3 years into it. And at this point, I'm sure there are still, Japanese imperial soldiers still fighting the good fight 40 years after World War II ended, right? But like, there isn't really a lane for people who are still running around being like, Israel committed a genocide and the Palestinian people deserve freedom, but also the only group of people that are fighting for Palestinians in that emancipatory need are actually like evil, violent monsters. And if you actually defend them in any way, shape, or form, you're a bad guy, you're an anti-Semite. Like, it's gone. It's over. You know what I mean? Especially with like Israel doing this shit in Syria, in Lebanon, and now doing it in Iran. It's pretty obvious that, this is a one-sided endeavor where Israel is always in the wrong.
What is this? Hassan is just speculating about Asmon. You're overanalyzing why Asmon has the opinions he does. It's not purposeful. He's just dumb, hateful, racist piece of shit. He's been like that since the WoW days. I think that's part of it for sure. But guys like Asmongold absolutely do go along with the wins, right? Like, even if they have dumb and hateful positions, if a lot of people were yelling at him for having those dumb and hateful positions, then he would stop saying them, right? The reason why he continues is because there is a market for it. It's pretty weird because he has a lot of fans, but in real life, I haven't met a single person that actually watches videos. Yes, because they don't go outside. One, because they're in Europe for the most part. And two, they don't go outside anyway. Yeah, you're not going to see an IT specialist in the Netherlands that's like awake at America hours. You know what I mean? Because that's literally his audience. Like, even if you lived in the Netherlands, you would never meet an Asmongold fan because, again, they don't go outside. They sleep during the day and they're up during America hours because that's the time frame that they're working.